In software engineering, we are taking chapter number 18, Mobile App Design. Mobility environments. Now, whenever we develop a mobile application, so there are different devices, different platforms, different companies. For example, normal programming, we are using Borland C++, Eclipse, NetBeans, Visual Studio. There are so many. The list is endless. But we are talking about the mobility environment or development environment for mobile apps. So there are some technologies that are restricted only to single manufacturer's device. For example, iOS, Apple iOS, and Objective-C. Some platforms are there which are licensed not to a single manufacturer but to several other manufacturers like Android and Java, or you can say Windows 8 and C#. Android Studio we develop in Java. Windows 8 apps we develop in C#. There are some open source also. They are designed to work on various devices. For example, WebOS, HP and NU. So this is the Objective-C, this is C# and Java, and this is NU, an object-oriented cross-platform JavaScript framework. Okay, so these are different things available. As a mobile developer, what or which platforms you are going to choose is requiring a lot of consideration. That is, you require carefulness, thoughtfulness. This is not only the aspect. There are business goals because the customer is giving you that app to be built. And what are the device features he wants that to be supported, or the hardware limitation he has. So the app which has been given to you to be built by the customer, the platform need to be chosen according to that also. So there are different mobile environments that needs a lot of consideration. Yuan, he suggested there are certain criteria to choose and to assess the MIDE, Mobile Interactive Development Environments. MIDE. As I said, there are IDEs, Visual Studio, NetBeans. These are IDEs, Interactive Development Environment or Integrated Development Environment. So there are certain features to assess. Before I go ahead, let me tell you about the mobile development tools. So there are various tools to develop mobile apps. There are various popular devices and you can easily freely download these from the internet. World Wide Web. For example, developer.apple.com, the Apple iOS Development Center. This contains tools for iPod, iPad, iPhone. Developer.android.com. So you get plugin, you get Android development using the Eclipse programming environment. You can do that. Then the developer.blackberry.com. Here we have plugin to allow BlackBerry development using the Eclipse environment. This environment it gives. And you can also download the Eclipse programming environment from eclipse.org. Previously, Java was predominantly we were working on NetBeans. Now it is Eclipse. Now coming to Microsoft, create.msdn.com, even the Xbox games, the Windows Phone apps. So these are the Microsoft tools you can download from. Developer.nokia.com, and this is for Java-based Nokia development tools. Then we have the developer.palm.com, right now getting popular HP WebOS development environment. Neo.js, this is a cross-platform development environment. You can use this website. And then we have www.sira.com. This is for construct to cross-platform game development environment. www.sira.com. So you can use all these. There are plenty more available. So Yuan was suggesting the criteria. First is general productivity features. Whenever we are choosing some certain MIDE, This MIDE should contain tools to support the editing, the project management, the debugging, the architectural design, and the documentation. All these should be there in your MIDE, which you choose along with the unit testing possibilities. Third-party SDK integration. So it is better to work on one IDE rather than working on several IDE. Okay. So you don't need multiple IDEs, rather than one IDE which can fulfill all your job should be chosen. Post-compilation tools. See, a good MIDE should contain those tools for source code that can be optimized for a specific mobile device or a service. These are the post-compilation tools which you need in MIDE. Over-the-air deployment support. What does it mean? That is, a better MIDE will allow you testing of the deployed app within the development environment. You don't need various devices to test on, but on the development environment only you are able to deploy and then check. End-to-end mobile application development. That is, we see mobile devices are not that powerful. Process, storage large amount of information locally. So how to do this? Can you do it on your IDE? So it is important for the developers to create, test and deploy the entire mobile projects using your desktop MIDE. You are working on your PC or your workstation. This is called end-to-end mobile application development. Documentation tutorials, support materials should be there, because while you are working you may be stuck somewhere. So in order to learn and to use it to entirety or to solve certain purpose, you need effective documentation and tutorials. Graphic user interface builders. If the MIDE is supporting visual construction for your user interface, like we were doing in Qt. So Qt became popular just because we are able to design good user screens. So we can construct the prototype and test it quite quickly if we have a graphical user interface builders. Okay. So these are certain criteria to choose MIDE as Yuan has suggested. Coming to the middleware. See, there are certain middleware projects. Means on one part you are developing, one part you are developing for, and there has to be some middleware. So these products are representative of those developed specifically for mobile applications. For example, you have www.infra.com. So Mobi Mobile Middleware is a set of library and WSDI component that interact between a web server and the application. So between web server and application, this is the middleware we are talking about that make mobile data available. So I am talking about the in-between, which is providing the services. A middleware is all about providing the services. We have smartsoftmobile.com. So this mobile solution provides cloud-based and enterprise SAP, for example, SAP solution. Sybase.com. So this is providing MEAP, that is mobile enterprise application platform that provides tools in client server middleware for mobile and enterprise application development. You can also go to scn.sap.com. Code.google.com. SkeenZone. This is a lightweight and extensible Java middleware. So that also is enabling the development of distributed mobile applications. Along with this, we have modolabs.com. Kurogo. This is also a very popular open source platform designed to power the content-rich, multifaceted mobile websites and iPhones and Android apps. So there are middlewares which are required while developing the mobile apps, and these are the ways you can get it. Cloud computing. Cloud, when the time it has come, the things have changed now. For example, the service-oriented architecture when it came, and we have cloud computing. So service computing and cloud computing, these are very important to rapidly develop the mobile application, which are large-scale distributed applications. So these two things, service computing and cloud computing, this enables, for example, these both computing paradigms, they have made the world creating application quite easier and economical. You are working or you're making it for different devices, may it be your personal computer or a smartphone or a tablets. So I was talking about the service oriented architecture. So you get the architectural style, for example, REST. You have standard protocols like XML and SOAP, and the interfaces, of course, the WSDL kind of thing needed for mobile development. So the architecture is already there. So we are working on a layer which is above it. So why not to use this service oriented architecture? Because all is about, the mobile app is all about getting service and providing service. And coming to the cloud computing, now this is an on-demand network access, on-demand, the software or the platform or the infrastructure. So on-demand network access to a shared pool of configurable computing resources you can get, for example, server, storage, applications and services. So this services computing, this allows us as a developer to avoid the need to integrate service source code into the client running on mobile devices. So you don't need to do that, because there is already a service oriented architecture. You just have to make it and put it on the layer above it. The service is already there, right? So you get a benefit of faster and economical development. The service actually runs out of the service provider. It is not closely coupled. It is loosely coupled with the application that make use of it through messaging protocols. As I said, XML, SOAP, REST, WSDL, all are there. So we concentrate on development rather than all creating the different layers. Cloud computing. Now this is the talk of the town now. It lets the client request computing capabilities as needed anywhere they want. So cloud architecture has 3 service layers: the SaaS, PaaS, and this IaaS, software as a service. So this layer consists of software component, the application. These are hosted by third-party service provider. So you can use software wherever you want as a service. And on the background you have service SOAP, the service oriented architecture, platform as a service. You can design, implement and testing. If there are so many team members geographically distributed, they can work on the platform on demand. Infrastructure as a service. You can get the computing resources like the storage, processing power, even the network connectivity on cloud. So the SaaS, PaaS, IaaS, these are 3 service layers. And this is one more thing, using a vendor neutral cloud, that is Azure or some which is specifically vendor specific. If you use a vendor neutral cloud, you can create cross-platform application to make it easier. So Taiwal Sari, he pointed out that making use of this cloud storage will allow you or allow any mobile device or software features to be updated easily on millions of devices worldwide, because you are targeting millions and millions of people. This is possible to virtualize the entire mobile user experience so that all applications are downloaded from the cloud. So that is how the cloud plays an important role. You can do everything on cloud, and that change can be experienced. The applicability of conventional software engineering. So we were using some SDLCs, waterfall, etc., the agile, etc. Now, various this agile software engineering practices, we used to create the computer application. Now they can be used for mobile applications or mobile client software. So agile, whenever we use agile is the faster method. So we create or we formulate the user stories. Then we need to get the requirements. So what is the user experience, what they want, what are the stakeholders requirement need, we must need to satisfy. There are contextual variable. Contextual variable is how they want it to be done. During the planning, what do? We plan for multiple devices, multiple platforms, and this has to be done for a particular budget and timeline. How? Because the time is very less and the app budget sometimes it is not that much. So usability testing and field testing, this also adds to the cost and the budget for mobile apps. This is also one of the factor. And then the risk analysis, because here in mobile app development, the security and the privacy is very important. So every time you have to think about the risk analysis, and this also will add to the cost and to the thoughtfulness, because you are working on wireless environment, you are working, because everything is personal now. The mobile app is developed for short span of time. Time to market is critical. Until you make it, the other party will come with the solution. The new technology elements are coming, the user requirements are changing, so the development will always has to cater the requirement. During the product engineering, the content analysis is done, the design. These are the action which are applied whenever you develop a web app. So design of this mobile app, you can increase it, you can expedite it using the design patterns, using the component based design, because if some design pattern is already there for mobile app or the component is already developed, you can directly use it. But remember, the quality of service should not be compromised while you are reusing or the already built you are just imbibing. This is the core objective for any mobile app development, mobile application development, even the mobile client software. User-centered design, because everything is about usability and accessibility to all. Everyone needs to access it, whether a normal person or any other person. So here the quality user interfaces is important, because screen is small, everyone needs to interact, and they are doing everything now, paying, viewing and relaxing. The most important architectural design is whether we want to make a thin or a fat client. Thick client, you can say. See, let me tell you, I already told you in the beginning, if a mobile is, say, in a military service, one mobile is used for specially one task, but your personal mobile, you are using it for multiple tasks. So for this kind of military services or some organizational, you need to make a thick client or a fat client. But for these app for you, it needs to be a thin client. The model view controller, MVC architecture. This is also commonly used in mobile apps. MVC architecture. So I'll just tell you about the thick and thin client. In thick client, all the work is done mostly in the software or app itself. There is no or little interaction with the background or the back end or the server. Server is thin. In the thin client, everything is done on the server. The client is only for interaction purpose. Database will be in thick server and everything will be in thick server. In MVC, user is going to interact with the view. Now view will tell the controller that a certain event has occurred. Now controller will update the model. Now model will alert the view that something has changed. And now view will grab model data and it will update itself. So view, controller, model, it will differentiate the different kind of job that is done. So it is kind of a layered approach or a way to actually see your application in a compartmentalized way. So the development become quite easier. So this MVC is very popular among the mobile app. You need to follow this MVC and be very sure whether you want to do it for a thick client or a thin client. And most of the apps we make are thin. The architectural design, it has to take the device resources, because the storage, the processing power, the battery, the network connectivity is an issue. The design should include provision for discoverable services. For example, the Bluetooth and the Wi-Fi, and there are so many. And the devices are moving. You are carrying the mobile everywhere. The testing, that is the usability testing and the deployment testing, every prototype you develop, you have to take care of these testing. And the code reviews, because the code you have made, someone has to review it. And especially thinking about the security aspect, security objective, the threats that are possible, this has to be seen as a code reviewer, right? This security testing is a routine part of system testing whenever it comes to mobile app. Well, security is for every application. But mobile, the environment is different, where it is going to work or it is going to be used. So code reviews should focus on security issues. So we discover, then we define, then we design, then we develop, then we deliver, and finally maintenance support for mobile app development. This is the whole process. Okay, this is all about this topic. Thank you so much. Take care of yourself.